Good morning to you all. Again, good morning to you all. Thank you. I hope you all know that I am Shami Manwar. Okay, for those who don't know me, I am Shami Manwar. Right? We are going to discuss geography. What are the other subjects you have finished by now? Polity. Okay. So, in geography, we'll have 2-3 steps today. First, we'll go for syllabus. Primarily, the mains one. And then we'll go through prelims. Then we'll have how to study. And this will primarily have interrelationship of different topics, how to correlate of geography. Then relation of geography with other subjects. Right. Then we'll begin the topical discussion. If at all we have time after that. How geography is related with polity? It deals with situations. How? Like population. Boundaries. So, nation and state. Okay. Geopolitics. One aspect is geopolitics. Why? Fine. So let's first go into the syllabus. We have paper 1. It is spread over 2 papers. Paper 1 that starts with World Physical Geography. The smallest possible syllabus you have in one line with the largest content. World Physical Geography. First part is geomorphology. That is scientific study of the landforms. Scientific study of the landforms. It has 5 different topics. Then we have climatology. Scientific study of the weather and climate. Then third topic is oceanography. The scientific study of the oceans, its water and physical aspects. Biogeography. Study of soils and related phenomena. Study of soils and related phenomena. Then we have environmental geography. that deals with environment. These are the 5 major topics which come within the topic World Physical Geography. Then we have second aspect is resources of the world. Resources of the world with a special reference to South Asia. South Asia and India. Then we have geophysical phenomena. Including volcanism, earthquakes, etc. Tsunami and all. Then we have population, which comes as both geography and economy. That can be discussed in both geography and economy. Then related topics. Paper 3 we have agriculture. 2 perspectives of agriculture. One is geographical perspective. Another one is economic perspective. These 2 are the aspects. We'll be dealing with geographical perspective of agriculture, not the economy. Then we have related topics, infrastructure. For example, why some areas have much higher density of road networks, rail networks as compared to other areas. How geography is determining these factors. Then energy, land reforms, social issues including empowerment of women and other social issues as well, where geographical information can be very handy for you. There can be some other topics of entire economy, in fact, except that of capital market and money market. You will find geography playing its role into it. And nowadays the questions are very much integrated. So you'll have to learn to handle those where the questions are mixed with 2 different topics. Right, this is the basics of the syllabus. How to deal with geography. there are few aspects here we'll be discussing to make it easier. First thing is the connection of the topic. Highly interconnected. Within geography. Like for example, if we are reading something, how can you multiply your productivity? Let's say landforms, right? You have seen that topics, major topics, resources of the world. What do you mean by resources? Minerals, one resource. What do you mean by resource? Anything which has utility for humans is a resource, right? If you divide resource, there will be different topics. Mineral resource, water resource, right? Soil resource, forest resource, and so many resources. Then you have, let's say, let's pick up one mineral resource. Within mineral resource itself, there can be variety of minerals, iron ore, copper, uranium, so many, coal, fuel, and all. Let's pick up one iron ore. Iron ore distribution, production, all across the world. The number of mines across the world, including India. Can you ever remember that? Hi. Can you really memorize all the mines of the world? Iron ore mines of the world. In 1 year. UPSC gives you 1 year only. You might have 5-year plan, but UPSC gives you only 1 year. Right? So within 1 year, can you really memorize all the coal mines or iron ore mines of the world? Even if you remember, then the moment you start memorizing coal mines, it might be mixed up. Right? So if you look at the resources itself, you cannot prepare in 1 year. Right? You have to prepare the entire geography, then so many other subjects like history, polity, economy, environment, then your personal life also at this age, lot of things to do, right? और भी गम है ज़माने में मोहब्बत के सिवा, kind of so many things to deal with. Now, what does UPSC want from you? Like look at the syllabus, how complicated it is. So from here, what does UPSC wants? Through these syllabuses. By mentioning this syllabus, what does it want? Because you cannot prepare the one single topic, resources of the world, thoroughly. Why it is mentioning? Land deform itself is geomorphology, one plate tectonics. If you are going to do research work, it will take at least 4 years to have one findings over plate tectonics. Right? But they have so many detailed syllabus within geography itself. And that is true about almost all the subjects. Right? So what does UPSC wants? Why are you preparing? To become an IAS officer, right? Why are you studying geography? Right now. For? To clear civil services again. What do civil servants do after selection? Because there, that is there, it is hidden there. How to prepare, how to study, you know. Once you are selected, what are you supposed to do? Any idea? A little bit of idea? Service to? Don't lie, at least till you become an IAS officer. You are saying something. Service to the people. Come on. Okay, all of you are from Telangana or nearby district, state, I think, right? Anyone who doesn't know Hindi at all? Zabardasti mat uthana, theek hai? At least 5-6 people you don't know Hindi, right? Imagine any one of you are posted in Bihar? It's not a curse, believe me. If you are an IS officer or IPS officer, it is better to serve in those areas which are underdeveloped. To serve both the purposes. You can earn a lot of money and respect also. So let's come back. Now, if you don't know Hindi at all and you are posted in Bihar as an SP or DM, any post you imagine, all the subordinates would be speaking Hindi. Most of them might not be knowing Telugu, definitely not knowing Telugu, or most of them might not be knowing English. How will you communicate with them? Thoda, kind of, right? Now imagine in the hierarchy, you are on the top, and then there are a lot of subordinates, then there are a lot of subordinates, then there are a lot of subordinates. Let's say suppose you are an IPS, SP of the district, and here stands the constable. Right? In that hierarchy, you might be staying for 3 months, 4 months, 1 year or 2 years in a district. Then you will be transferred. Right? Do you think that you have informations more than this constable? Information about the area? You don't have? As an IPS, as an SP, all of your subordinates will have more information about this area than you yourself. Your constable might be knowing about the thieves, all the thieves, their houses, the type of crime, number of crimes they have committed, and you might not be aware at all. And then you are imposed over them, and you are expected to deal with the law and order. This is the crux of your preparation. Right? Now imagine you don't have information, yet you are supposed to deal with the law and order of your area, or as a DM, the administration of the area. This is the fundamental difference you need to understand before you start your preparation itself. Information lies with your subordinates. Any type of information you want, it can be at your fingertips. Okay, fine. Like the moment you have a meeting with your DSP, suppose. The moment you join, you will have the meetings with your DSPs. Let's say suppose there are 5 DSPs in your area. And you are having a meeting with them. Okay, tell me what is the problem in your area. So my area have 2 women's colleges, so generally problems are associated with girls and all, and sometimes some people will come and disturb that area. Okay, fine, you tell me what is the problem in your area. So information to you is flowing through your subordinates, right? You have the information, then you make a chart and all, and then you ask those subordinates, okay, bring me tomorrow all the criminals who have committed crime in your area. So they will give you tomorrow, right? My area is slightly tensed with, let's say, Muslim-Hindu issues or caste issues, right? Bring all the important people of your area to me, and I want to meet them tomorrow. So all the information is flowing to you through your subordinates. Based on those information, you make a plan how to deal with law and order, right? So your actual work starts after the information. In this preparation stage, information flows through books or materials, right? Your entire energy, most of you, 99% energy is devoted to books and materials. So you are behaving like subordinates, not as an officer. Wherever you need to discuss, please let me know. Believe me, this is going to be the most important class of your entire preparation of civil services. So these are what? The subordinates. What your subordinates are supposed to supply? So this is when you are reading through books, NCRTs and any book, any study material. You are running after this, UPSC will be bothered about it without any doubt. I'm not saying that you can do without books, but your actual work starts beyond the books. As an officer, you are supposed to deal with the topics beyond the books. Right? Because books are providing you informations. Informations will be provided to you by your subordinates. Right? So, yeah, the moment you are reading books, you are just doing things what your subordinates are supposed to do. Beyond that, your work begins. And now if you look at the question, especially past 5-6 years, the questions are from here. And not many people are actually paying attention to this part. Whether it is preliminary or mains. The questions are beyond the books. What do you mean by that? Right? When we are reading books, what do you mean by beyond the books? Sometimes it is also confusing. Beyond the books. You are like suppose criminals, crime and all, everything is given to you. And now as an IPS, you are supposed to deal with these data. And the data you'll have that this guy is not very efficient. Because whenever he is posted somewhere, the crime has increased. Get lost. Isko shunting karo. You'll be doing your subordinates, maybe sub-inspector or DSPs. So you'll be transferring them. This guy, whenever has gone to some place, the crime graph has decreased. This is beyond the books. Right? When you're reading with, when you're dealing with those subordinates and formations, suppose communal tensions. Communal tensions are not done by the normal people. It is always planned by the few individuals on the top. You call them up, have a private meeting 1-to-1, and tell him or her that if anything happens, the next day your entire back portion will be red. I'll beat you till you become blue. I'm not responsible who is doing, but I'll be holding you responsible for that. It will never happen, trust me. If you pick up those important people who decide these things, right, because the masses will actually rally behind them and they misuse those rallies. So you call them, this is beyond the books, right? And UPSC will be testing your ability through questions beyond the books. And that's why very often you will hear that, my God, this time question was totally different. I have never thought that this will come as a question. Because they are asking, they are testing your ability to deal with the topics beyond the books. Right? You will have questions like why resource-rich region of Africa are highly underdeveloped. Right? Before that question was asked in UPSC, you will never read those topics anywhere in the world. Why Panipat was chosen as a location for wars? That question comes in history. You will never read these questions in history before UPSC has asked. Like in history generally, what were the wars, who fought the wars between, what were the causes, what are the consequences? These are a part of history. Why Panipat was chosen as location? Why wars were fought at Panipat? So it is question about geopolitics. It's question about history, it's question about economy, and it's question about physiography. So 4 different topics are combined to make one question. Right? Industrialization in Japan is different from that of West. This question is asked not in economy, not in geography, but in history. World history. And that is what we are thinking about beyond the books. That is the application part. They will make questions to test your ability to use or have the capacity to apply the information you have received. Right? That is beyond the books. If you are reading NCRT, if you are going through the books, it is fine. You need it. You need to go through it. You need to have the content. You need to have the framework. You need to have the clarity of the concepts. But you'll have to deal with beyond that. Because everybody is reading. All of your competitors, the moment they are starting, 12th class NCERT. Right? You must have read, you are supposed to read in 12th class itself. What is the difference, you as a 12th class student and as a would-be IS officer? You need to understand that. Right? You are supposed to read those books in 12th class, 11th class, 10th class. And you are supposed to read the same book at this age when you are beyond your college. Or maybe masters also. So what is the fundamental difference between a school-going student and a would-be IS officer? The difference is that of application. Because any 8th class student can read more efficiently this 8th class NCERT than you. Because you may not have that level of concentration because of that is meant for 8th class student. The language will be so poor, so shallow, you will be taking it very lightly. Because at your age, you will not enjoy the right of a book which is meant for 12th class or maybe 15 years or 13 years or 12 years old boy or kids. Right? So that's the application, that's the difference. Where you start applying those information, where you start learning from the content, where you start learning what has not been written in the book, through what has been written in the book. मैं श्री श्री हरि शंकर की तरह कॉम्प्लेक्स तो नहीं हो रहा हूं. Okay, let me ask you a question, which I was asked in my interview. When I was appearing for interview, that question was asked, and very often I start my class with that question. In general, Muslims in India have more number of children. Do you agree with this statement? If yes, what are the reasons? Open to you all. And please feel free to speak your mind. Did you get the question? In general, Muslims in India have more number of children. Do you agree with the statement? If yes, what are the reasons?
They have a lack of education and also religious customs.
Religious customs and lack of polygamy. 4 wives. Feeling jealous? Okay, 4 wives, religious and customs, and lack of education also. Okay, go ahead, please. Feel free. Let me believe that I am talking to would-be IS officers of my country. Because they want to increase the Muslim population. Okay. That's one aspect. Because they want to increase the Muslim population to overcome the Hindu population to make the prime minister of their community, right? Second aspect. You agree with her. What else? Anyone? All of you have the information. All of you have the required knowledge to answer this question. I guarantee that. You have the information, you have knowledge, apply it, answer it. Only 2 people have answered.
And also historical, like the ancestors also have many children.
Their ancestors also have many child, so they pursue that they should have more and more children, right? Okay. Following the traditions of the ancestors. Legacy, nahin? Anyone else? Now, look at here. I'm not talking to the chai dhaba people who discuss. I'm talking to the cream of our society. Remember it. The moment you plan and you thought that you want to write civil services, you are among the top 5% brain of our country. So I'm talking to top 5% of the brain of my country, not the bottom one. Okay. Let's start with 4 wives. Religious customs means Allah ki dain hai.
In Muslim community, it's like polygamy.
Polygamy is one aspect, polygamy. How many Muslim family do you know? No, I'm coming to you. This is not a joke, and this is not information about Muslims and all. I'm just trying to tell you that how much information you already have, and you didn't use that. You're just applying what is in your mind, like structured opinion. That's what I call structured opinion. Right? You can't behave like the same crowd of the rest of 95%. And this is an example, one of the best example you can apply to increase your capacity to application part without actually going through the books also. Because you already have a lot of information. The problem is that our mind is not accustomed to use those informations which we learn from experience, which we learn from generalist interaction and all. Okay. How many Muslims family do you have? Any idea? Just roughly. No. 5 to 6 at least. Tell me one person who has 4 wives. I want to touch his feet and want to ask like how do you do it? Because एक बीवी जिंदगी हराम कर देती है यार.
So not everyone, but
No, tell me one person. Forget about everyone. Tell me just one person who has 4 wives.
not 4, sir. More than one. Polygamy.
Okay, more than one. So tell me how many among the 5 families, how many individual have 2 wives?
One, sir.
Okay, 1. So 5 families, at least 20 people. And according to you, it should be 80 people. One family, 8% at least. Out of 80 or 40 people, there is one person who has 2 wives. And believe me, that is highest in Hyderabad. All over India, that is highest in Hyderabad. And in Hyderabad also, who go for 2 wives? The auto wala, the rickshaw wala and all. Lower section. None of them other than that. Have you heard the name of Abul Kalam Azad? Or the APJ Abul Kalam? He was not even married. Salman Khan, have you heard? Now, why are you laughing? Because you are not considering them as Muslims. When you think about Muslims, your mind is not allowing you to bring them as Muslims. This is called otherization. Right? Like if I tell you that go and Google it, religion wise, the number of wives or women an individual has, Muslim will be the last one as a community. Right? Now, what is the application part? You have the information. Now, you were just saying that to increase the number of population. Imagine somebody sleeping with his wife to produce a child with the thought that let's do it for the nation. I want to increase the population of my community beyond that so that we one day have the prime minister from my community. Do you think anybody sleeps with that thought? I can guarantee that nobody sleeps with that thought. Nobody goes with his wife to produce children with the belief. And if any individual has that much mind, they'll always produce less number of children. Because in an office, officers are only one. And the clerks are many. So if you produce more number of children, you are producing clerks, not the officers. And who rules? Even with the minority, minority always rules, remember it. And officers are always in minority. Ministers are always in minority. Very extremely educated class are always in minority. And it is they who rule the nation, area, region or anything. Right? So it is never ever possible that the people who who produce children with the belief that will increase the population to overcome some other community. Nobody produces child for the nation. Believe me, nobody produces. Right? Now, where does it come from? It is called structured opinion. As far as religion is concerned, this is the least important factor affecting population. least important factor. The last factor, if you write 10 factors for population increase, the 10th will be the religion. 1 to 9 will be social and economic. Now recall, all of you recall the people you know, right? And do you know your grandparents? You remember? How many children they have? 3. And grandparents? Go and inquire. Your grandparents will be at least 7, 8, 9 brothers and sisters. All of you. Go and inquire. You might be 2 siblings. Your father, if you comes from economically background, they themselves will have 6, 7, 8 brothers and sisters. If they are economically well off, they might be 3, 4. But the moment third generation you go to your grandparents, they will always have, all of you will have 7, 8. If not, then your grandmother will be infertile. That's the only reason. Otherwise, there is no reason that people of, let's say, 20 years, 30 years or 40 years back will have family planning. And they will be going for, no, we'll produce only 2 children. Never. Across the religion. That's the past. Present. Recall any society, any individual, any family you know. It will always be class-wise. Not caste or not religion. Class means very well educated society across the religion will always have less number of children. You go and inquire. 99%. If they are socio-economically well off, whether they are Muslims, Hindus, Christians or Sikhs or they come from any religion, any caste, they'll always be having less number of children. Top class. The moment you keep on going down, the labor class, the auto rickshaw walas, the pan walas and all those, across the religion they will have roughly higher TFR. High birth rate, high rate of population. So, when you think about this population, you don't go for a structured opinion, what an illiterate or maybe college going student or maybe school going students talk about. You are supposed to go into the reasoning of that, not following the structured opinion. That is the application. That is where you can differentiate yourself as a would-be IAS officer from the college-going mindset. College-going students are reactive in nature. You guys can't behave like that. First, you need to change that attitude. The moment you enter into civil services preparation, you need to be proactive. I'll give you one example of otherization. If you are relatively well-dressed, can speak better English, which most of Indians do, and go to England. Right? Slightly fairer in color. And the moment they come to know about that you are from India, they'll say that you don't look like an Indian. You must have experienced it many times. Personally also, I have experienced many times. Like the moment people will ask you, where do you come from? I'll say Bihar. Oh, you don't look like a Bihari. Why? Because you have an opinion about a Bihari. There is an image in your mind about Biharis. And I don't fit in that image. So you don't accept me as a Bihari, rather you remove me as a Bihari. This is called otherization. Because you are not ready. That's the normal mind. That's the normal human tendency of a status quoist. Because we are not ready to break that image. And you want to remain in that image, so you otherize me. You remove me from as a Bihari. No, he might be a different Bihari. Abul Kalam might be a different Muslim. Salman Khan might be a different Muslim. You might be a different Indian. When you go to other country and you are slightly better because they have image about India. And in that image, you don't fit as an Indian. So they don't want to break their image, rather they want to otherize you. You belong to a different few individuals of India who might have been better off. But India is like that of snakes and charmers of 1940s and 1950s. They might have learned from their grandparents and all when the Britishers were ruling. This is image carrier. To have that, first thing you need to remove is being an image carrier. You have to break that. You have to break it. You can't be an image carrier. The second thing is learn from the experience. This is the most important part of your learning. Learn from the experience. That is surroundings. You have spent your life 20 years, 21 years or whatever around. And you already have a lot of experience which will be extremely handy in UPSC preparation. I will prove during the classes that there will be so many questions you must not have read by now, but you can write a good answer. Not very good, but a good answer over that topic. Why you will not write? Because till now our mind is again accustomed to believe that you can write an answer only when you have read about it. Break that. That is also an image you are carrying. Since you haven't read, you can't write an answer over it. That is also an image you are carrying. Since you have started preparation of civil services, if I ask you again, all of you will not answer correctly. Anyone who has started your preparation since last 5 years before the present? None of you will raise the hand. Everybody is looking. Is there anybody? 2 years before today? 1 year before today? Some of you, right? Let me tell all of you have started your preparation when you were in 5th and 6th class. This is also an image you are carrying. Because you think that when you bought book specifically for UPSC, right? Bipan Chandra, El Basham, those polity guy, right? Lakshmikant, right? Only then you started preparing for civil services. Break that image. Anything you know can be asked in UPSC. Even if you let the 8th class or 10th class student sit with the question paper of this year prelims, they'll be able to solve 20 questions with confidence. How do they do that? And if you are very widely read and well read, you will be able to do it with the same confidence, 30 questions, not more than that. So there is a difference of 10 questions. Confidently saying that, yes, I have done it correctly, is between 8th class and the post-graduation. The only difference is 10 questions. And you need to go till around 50 questions. So everybody, you can never cross 30 to 35 questions confidently in prelims examination. Never ever. You read the entire book, you read everything, you let all the teachers support you. You cannot go with confidence 30 to 35 questions. That's UPSC. Now this 15 to 20 question is the real challenge. 15 to 20 out of what? 60 to 70 questions. They'll make you bleed for that. And that is the application part. Even if you sit right now, you will be able to score 25, 30 roughly. At least 25. But beyond 35, each and every question, you will require a lot of efforts. You will be requiring those application part. I'm not teaching you philosophy. I'm just helping you deal with UPSC only. Right? And these are important parts. So, you'll have to learn from this. Like this example was meant for that. That you know it, yet you have not learned from that. You already know the societal issues, surroundings, but have you learned from that? Anybody who has more number of children, have you ever thought that why do they have? You didn't. You have an opinion. Why do you have that opinion? Because that is floated by chauvinist section. For their own benefits. You can't be a part of that. We can't be a part of that. We can't be a part of those chauvinist sections, those who want to have benefit, whether it is political mullahs or political pundits, whatever you call them. Both sides, you will have people who will be using those informations and floating that idea. We can't be a part of that. Because every society is run by three major sections: politicians, religious leaders, and intelligentsia class, intellectuals. And those two are similar in their approaches, in their ideals, and this intelligentsia class is always at loggerheads with them. And from there, you have to learn this application part. You can't pick anything presented before you. Right? You have to put reasoning into it. And reasoning can be done, break your image. Break your image of every possible thing. Like whenever you make a decision, it should not be based on the image you are carrying. Start thinking. Start being reasonable. And then you will have the actual productivity when you go through NCRTs or any material. You may need to, first, second round, you just need to brush it up. You just need to have the clarity of the concept. But beyond that, learning beyond that can help you integrate the ideas. Like for example, one more experiment with you. Imagine yourself sitting in a court as a judge. All of you, right? And you have to make a decision. Decision for me. I come to your court and tell you that I have murdered someone. What should be done with me? Everyone. Reason. You'll ask me the reason. Why I murdered someone, right? Anyone else? All of you are a judge. At your individual capacity, you are supposed to announce the punishment or reward or whatever when I say that I have murdered someone outside. I accept that I have murdered someone. Be quick. Police investigation. I am already accepting that I have murdered someone. Okay. One aspect is police investigation. Or in any way, investigation, you will. What else? Who is? Beautiful. Who is that person? What else? Am I accepting under pressure? Okay. My mental issue, mental state. You're talking about, right? Sorry? Place of murder. Outside this gate. What is the me, myself? Means. How did I get that? Is it really important? Okay, you will go and catch that person who has applied me this thing. Okay, I'm giving you these 4 options. Imagine that this is a question of UPSC in prelims. Which is the most important? Huh? Okay, first option, how many of you support first option? The reasons. Okay. Second option. तुम खुद ही नहीं सपोर्ट कर रहे हो, तुम बोले. You thought first one. Okay, reasons. पुलिस इन्वेस्टिगेशन किसने बोला? तुमने बोला था. तो तुम भी नहीं हाथ उठा रहे. अब आ गया दूसरा. How many of you support or go for police investigation? Okay. Thank you. How many of you go for who is that person? Okay. And the rest you go, I think, for my mental state. Okay. Fourth option. How many of you? The real answer is this. Who is that person who I have murdered? Right? Why? Because It might be Dawood Ibrahim. I have murdered someone, but the most important question is who I have murdered. This is UPSC. All of these are correct. All of this might be used as one of the options, but which is the most important option is this. That is where the application will allow. When you learn that reasoning, when you go through the questions, when you go through the content, and when you allow your mind to spread laterally, not vertically, laterally, and that comes from a lot of thinking, a lot of discussions, to actually help your mind believe that you can answer a question without actually you have read it, without actually having the content of it. Only then you can cross that 15-20 questions. Your ability to, this like reasoning kind of thing. So because 65 to 70 question will be such that, which you can say that it will not even like, my God, where they are asking from. And every year that will be the situation. Right? And out of that we have to just go 20 to 25. So that's why you have to do 50 plus means you are through. Out of 100, we'll come to that also later. 50 plus is through. So this is the application part. One of the example is application part of any preparation. Next example, let's say specific to geography, lands form. This is one topic, lands form. Geomorphology is one topic, part scientific study of geomorphology is landform. So if you are reading landform, as landform, you are reading one topic. So let's say suppose if you have read 2 hours, you have a productivity of 2 hours. Right? So you can say that you have studied for 2 hours. Can these 2 hours be equivalent to 10 hours? This is the difference between 8th class and would-be ISOFs. How? Today? The way we are reading. The way we are reading. How? What is that way? So let's say, go for it. How to read? Or study? Come again? Concentration. Can you really concentrate in NCERT, which is meant for 12 years old kid at the age of 20, 21? What we are? Okay, one aspect is concentration. We'll discuss that later. Concentration. Focus. Common complaint, all of you. Right? When you start going through NCERTs, the difference between going through novel and NCERT. What is the difference? How many of you read novel? Good amount of novel you have read. Good. What is the difference between a novel and NCERT? You must have gone through both by now. So what is the difference? Novels are more interesting than. Sorry, come again. You can picture that and you can flow, your mind can flow with that idea. Anyone else? Novel versus NCERT. I'm sure you don't have idea about NCERT also. At least many of the NCERTs. Huh? No, you don't have. Trust me, you don't have. You might feel that you have, but even after reading 5 times, you don't have much idea about NCERT. They are fictitious. And NCERT is not. Okay. Interesting concentration. They are fictions. NCERT is also fictions. Like plate tectonics. Plate tectonics suggests that the building we are standing right now is moving. Isn't it a fiction? Science itself is fiction, right? Some of the things of science we really have practically, we can easily understand blindly. Okay, fine. The apple is falling from the tree and coming down to the ground. Right? This is science. This is also fiction. Right? But we can see that, we can believe it, so it is not fiction. Imagine the stars are born through this process. We cannot actually magnify it and imagine it in a scientific way. So it is a fiction. Isn't it? When you read novels, you have much higher concentration, focus, right? Even if a mother is calling, just let me read, I am studying, hiding that book and all, right? When you start in CRT, and if a mother is called, you yourself keep on looking when she calls. Why? That concentration or focus we are talking about, why do you lack it? That's one of the biggest myth I'm going to break today. Language. You read novel in which language? Telugu? The word phrase. I don't think so. NCRT uses very easy in word also. That's why you get bored. You're the first person I have met to say that. Because easy words are used only by very efficient writer. Those who are relatively new to English, they'll use that, except that guy of Kerala, what is his name, politician? Shashi Tharoor. Right? So why do we have, look at here, the word interesting, novels are interesting. Why it is interesting? Curiosity about what happens next, right? In novels, generally you have two types of novels, romantic and generally the adventurous or scientific, you can say. Most of you at this age, most of you must be reading romantic novel. At most of you, some might be exceptions also, but like you are maturer than your age, kind of. The romantic novels, which generally have two boys, one girl, two girls, one boy, and the story will go around. Right? There will be actor, there will be main lead actor, there will be villain and all. You know that who is the actor? No, you surely know that who is the actor. And you surely know also that who is the, like the girl X in the book. You know that who is she in the real life. In real life. Right? There is an imagination of you. She might be there. And vice versa also. Now, when you are reading, you start imagining yourself. When you are reading and going through the novel, you start imagining that, let's say, suppose character Z will be killed by character C, suppose. So you keep on looking, your mind is focused there. And you are going and you are proceeding and fully focused. Oh, this will happen, this guy is going to kill this person. I'm sure this is going to happen. You reach at the climax where actually it is going to come. That both of them are encountering. If that killing is done, if that actually happens the way you think, imagine the adrenaline, the dopamine released. Yeah, I'm the Einstein of this present day. I knew it. If that doesn't happen, there's only two possibilities. It goes the way you are thinking, it goes exactly opposite the way you are thinking. So if that person, that character is not being killed, there is a twist. It again gives you exclamation, oh my God, I didn't think this. Wow, that's a wonderful twist. Right? So what are you actually doing with the novel? You are writing a parallel novel. And the best writer is one who makes you do that more efficiently. So you are basically writing a parallel novel, and that makes it more interesting. Parallel novel, because our mind loves to do that. Because when you write parallel novel, you emulate yourself, you feel that you are as good as a writer. And that gives you pleasure. That makes it more interesting. Right? Now imagine that a romantic aspects between two boys, one girl, two girls, one boy. Can it be more interesting than learning that your fundamental rights? Right? Can it be more interesting than learning that the entire Indian subcontinent is moving? Can it be more interesting than learning that how the clouds are formed? Why it rains in Hyderabad and not just beyond that? Can any novel be more interesting in that than that? Look at the economy, how the entire economy of the world functions. What is the role of RBI? Why people are poor? Right? It can never be more interesting. It's all the myths that makes it more interesting. It all the myths plus the way we study. The way we study. If you are writing a parallel novel, you can write a parallel NCERT as well. Why are we not writing? Because of the traditional way we read. What actually we do? You take a book, you open the chapter and you start going through. Right? You can't imagine. You can't write parallel. Right? But in a novel, you know a lot of things because that is fiction. That is something which you can easily imagine. That is something which you have experienced. Because your mind tell you believe that there are a lot of experience of it. And in that experience that is provoked. Whatever experience you have. For example, all of you boys would have tried the girls of your class and 99.9% wouldn't have succeeded in it. Right? You are bringing flowers every day and all, waiting and all, and ultimately your senior takes her away one day. And you wonder, like we are wondering why it happens. Because girls are always far more mature than the boys of their age. And they think that you are a kid. Seriously, I'm telling you. They think that you are a kid. Because your behavior will never be match up with their maturity. Why is it so? This is the practical experience. Anyone who has the girlfriend from their class? One. He is an exception. Right? None of you else? You might have your juniors. It is only because girls are maturer than the boys of their age. This is a fact. This is established fact. Now I'm asking why. And all of you know it. This is UPSC. First part is book. When I'm asking why, this is UPSC. Even if it may not be asked directly, but you are training your mind to write an answer of UPSC. Why girls are more mature than the boys of their age? Girls, they think practically, not as practical as the boy of higher age. I'm asking why. You are saying that I'm asking the cause. You are saying the consequences.
Because they maintain connections, close connections with parents, mother and father.
Mother and
Father, girls.
no, girls have much closer connection with father, and boys have much closer connection with mothers.
But boys sometimes has only connection with friends.
Friends. Girls also have connection with friends. That means you haven't met girls who are smarter. All of you know it. It is the beautiful. It is the conditioning or conditions.
And the conditions are imposed upon them that like restrictions.
Exactly. Because girls face more challenges than the boys since their childhood. The situation makes them mature. Biologically and all, there's nothing to do with that. Imagine you going to school as a kid of 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. And imagine a girl and a boy both going. You just go to school, the girls have to face a lot of issues with them. Starting from the house itself. Right? Whether they should be allowed to go to school or not. First question. Whether they should be in burqa, in ghungat, in full dress or half dress or semi-skirt and all. That will be a question for them, not for you. When they enter into a bus, it is not just a journey. It's a journey plus safety. Lot of starings they have to bear with. Lot of elbows they have to bear it. Lot of nonsense, other nonsense they have to bear it. When they go into college again, so many things. So starting from the family to the road, to the festivals, to this college, to the buildings, they have to be far, far more careful than the boys. So when you are faced with uncertainties, when you are faced with so many adversities, you become more mature. It has nothing to do with anything, but simply because they are facing more challenges. And because the challenges are far higher, they become maturer. Since they are maturer and they have better capacity to deal with situation as compared to the boys of their age, they'll always be treating you as kid. You might be brilliant in academics and all, but socially and otherwise you will be very poor as compared to them. So you will never be succeeding in that. And somebody else will take her away. Right? All of your efforts will go waste and you'll keep on looking to be called mama after some times. Right? This is the practical experience. So when a novelist writes about these things, you start thinking, oh my God, actually I was trying for her, she didn't give any scope for that and she went away with that. He was a stupid guy. Right? And she went with him. Oh, maybe because of age gap and maybe because that boy was because of her higher age, he was more mature than the, and then so you start thinking that provocation makes it more interesting. When a writer writes, they know the general mind, they know the bend of the mind and they try to provoke the situation you already have faced, but you might not have noticed it. So it makes it more interesting. Right? So you already have some idea about whatever the topic is being written in the novel. So it makes it more interesting. How to make NCERT the same? It can be made. The only problem is our method of study. Just don't open the chapter, but don't go through the content directly. Just like novel. Let's say suppose you have opened a topic, let's say pipelines in India. Right? Let's say suppose empowerment of women. I'm trying to touch the topic which you might not have thought over. Right? Don't go through the content. Think about it. Think before you go to the content. What should be the thought line? Right. Think before you go to the content, maybe 1 to 5 minutes, depending upon the topics. You might not have any idea about the topic. So maybe 1 minute, but do it. Go through the process. Or if you know the topic, it might be 5-6 minutes or maybe 10 minutes, but roughly 1 to 5 minutes. Each chapter. Give this much time before you go through the content. Let's say pipelines in India. Anybody who has read it? Good. That's what I wanted. Pipelines in India, empowerment of women. You choose the topic. I'll tell you that all the information you require to write an answer, you already have it. Except the figurative part, except the statistics, except the data. You already know everything needed to answer this question. If the question, this topic is pipelines in India, what should be the thought line? I'm giving you practical experience. You try it today. Your mind will break after 1 year, 1 hour. You will not be able to study more than 1 hour. And you will have the highest possible concentration. And then after we learn this, I'll tell you how to go for lateral thinking to make it more productive. Pipelines in India. Write down this topic. Let's say I'm giving you a question, advantages and disadvantages of pipelines with reference to India. This is the question. I'm expecting that you haven't read it. Make a synopsis. You have 5 minutes. Basic synopsis. And your time starts now. How many of you have started writing? First mistake. Why? Again, this is, I'm telling you to make yourself more productive. The moment you read the question, at least when you are practicing, I'm not talking about the examination hall. You are not in the examination hall right now. You are practicing for that exam. So first mistake is that you are not coming with the best line you can generate. Because the moment you read the question, you started writing. So this will never be your best line. Right? So first mistake, don't start quickly. Think. What thing? What do you know about it? Because I'm giving you a topic which I'm expecting that you haven't read. Now, within that thinking, right now you might take more time, but once you practice, it'll come within 30 seconds. For that you need practice. Believe me, completing the content is the easiest task of UPSC. And 99% of the energy is devoted into it. Right? These are the areas where you need to devote more time to make it more productive, to make it better than, to work better than your competitors. Right? So when you go for it, think, what do you know about it? Right? Then maybe let's say suppose 5 thoughts, 5 lines. Then first thing is choose the best line in the beginning. Try choosing according to you. Find out one beautiful line which you can generate. Or tell yourself, my God, this is my generation. This is what I have created. This is my line. Just in the case of novel. When there was a twist, you exclaimed. When there was no twist, you exclaimed, you enjoyed. Here also, when there is a, like, the novel is going according to your wish, you enjoyed because you thought that, okay, I can write a novel. When it went this way, you also enjoyed because, oh my God, this can be a twist. So when you are thinking, you will be going through the content with the same thought. Oh my God, I have generated one more point than this. The book has written. Oh my God, why didn't I think this point? So actually you are not studying, you are not reading, you are playing with the content. And mind are always more productive and focused when you are playing with it, when you are enjoying it, when you are enjoying the process. You might have at least one thing in your life which never make you tired when you do it, like playing something, because you enjoy it, so you don't feel tired. The same happens with novel, and same can happen with NCRT. So try choosing the best line you have generated. Initially it may take more time, but you have to practice that to reduce it to the least, where your mind becomes accustomed to generate good points in the beginning itself, within 30 seconds. And for that you need regular practice. Whenever you think, like for example, if you are walking and you see a rickshaw wala, right, or you see something which is not usual, you ask question. Why? This is UPSC. When you are going to, let's say, suppose Atlas, you are watching Atlas, right? You might have seen it at the age of 10 or 12 or 13, and you are supposed to see it at the age of 20, 21. As a school going kid, as a would be as officer, right? What is the difference? At that age also you see the locations. Okay, Japan is here, Russia is here, Canada is here, US is here, India is here, China is here. So you understand the location, you try to see the capitals and all. But go beyond that. You see, Japan is here, right here you have Russia, right here you have West European country, right in this periphery you have US. Come down, you will have India, China, Brazil like. Come down, you will have Uganda, Rwanda, and DRC countries which are underdeveloped. So when you look at all the developed countries are located along a particular latitude. This is one difference you are making from a school going kid to a would-be IAS officer. All the countries located here may not be developed, but all the developed countries of the world are located along a particular latitude. Now you put a question mark. Whether you get the answer or not doesn't matter. But you have forced your mind to think unconventionally. And that will give your mind a better edge with respect to your competitors. The moment you start questioning this, that why all the developed countries are located along a particular latitude, then the next question will be, is there any relation with latitudinal position with that of development? Right? Because the developing countries are underdeveloped, equatorial regions are highly underdeveloped. Right? Now, this is integration. So, when you start thinking, you will be feeling that you are wasting a lot of time. But that will be the most productive part of your preparation with respect to civil services. May not be with respect to SSCs and other exam, where factual content is far more important. Here, application is far more important, because actual decider is hidden there. The content wise, which is objectively can be studied and answered, all of you are equal. Then there is a differentiation, the first level differentiation, second level differentiation, third level differentiation in prelims and mains, both. Let's say suppose 30 questions are straightforward, right? जिसको आप non-decider बोलते हैं, which can be answered by most of your competitors who are seriously in the race. Now the next 70 questions, 20 questions will be the first layer, which will be not so twisted. Right? Let's say out of that 10 you can do. The next 30 question will be far more twisted. So out of that, if you can do 10, it is very good performance. The next 30 question will be extremely twisted. Out that, if you can do 7, 8, that is very good performance. So every aspect there, your ability to apply, your ability to think, your ability to reason into it will be allowing you to come closer and closer and closer. The same is about mains also. That's why they don't give you enough time. They tell you to write 20 questions with a lot of lengthy questions. within 3 hours. Because they don't allow your mind to think much. So you have to practice it much before it. If the same question is asked and given 4 hours, 5 hours, you can write all the answers without having any problem. Because the questions are never tough. It's always tricky. Tricky. Most of the question will be familiar with. लगेगा कि हाँ जानते हैं कभी देखा है. But the moment it is twisted, they will be asking something else and you will be answering something else. And unlike college, they will never be having sympathy with you. In college, whatever you write, Ashoka's economy and all, they will be writing you that. They will be giving you marks, but in UPSC they won't, unless until you have answered what has been asked. So that thinking enables you to make a better would-be IAS officer. So first you think. That's the same I am talking about. When you go through the content, before going to the content, you should think. When you write, when you practice, think about it. That pipelines in India. Right? What should be the thought line here? Advantages and disadvantages. So in any case, what should be the first thought line? What is it? So what is a pipeline? Gas pipeline. ठीक है? Carrier of liquid and gases also. Fluids. Good. Now this is a random thought. Make it better. How do you define a pipeline? All of you know it. The only thing is that you haven't practiced it. Your mind is not allowing you to have the best introduction of it. Because again, you are stuck there that you haven't read it, so you can't write it. If I'm going to give you the best definition, believe me, you already knew about that. The exact same definition, you knew it. You may not be able to come with that because you haven't practiced. Your mind is not ready for that. I'm just trying to help you to make your mind ready. What is it? Network of pipes. Okay. Keep on coming. To connect two places. Door-to-door facilities for what else? तुम्हें तो मैं एक्सपेक्ट करता हूं मैच्योर होना चाहिए. अपने क्लास की लड़की पढ़ा रखी है तुमने. Go ahead. You told something, right? कुछ बोला तुमने. What is transportation? तो इतने हल्के से क्यों बोल रहे हो? That is one term. Mature है देखो. One term is transportation. Pipeline से हम क्या करते हैं? What do we do with that? Transport something. So can we say pipelines are means of transportation? Through which fluids are supplied from one place to another. Anyone who didn't know it? None. Right? Why you are not able to write it or speak it? I'm going into the reason of that. Right? Unless until you touch that point, unless until you train your mind, your productivity will be very less. Like, what are pipelines? This was the question. What is it? So, pipelines are means of transportation, modes of transportation through which fluids are transported from one place to the another. Right? All of you know it. Now, what is the keyword right now? Transportation. Think about it. Now, you don't need to write it. You may write it or may not write it. But think about what are transportation. What is transportation? What are the other means of transportation? Pipelines are one means of transportation. What are the other means of transportation? Roadways, railways, airways, waterways. 4 other means of transportation. Now, when you think about advantages and disadvantages, just compare. Right. What are the advantages and disadvantages of pipelines? So, first you will introduce pipelines are the modes of transportation through which fluids are supplied. Right. This is the initial baby step, you can say that. The beginning. You are expected to write in the beginning like this. But I'll take you to, till we finish geography, I'll take you to the higher level. How to make, this is, anybody can write. Right? How to make this one better than the rest. Or better than the most at least. Right? So that is the second step. First step is start as like basics. Like if you have a question about Rajya Sabha, how will you introduce it? What should be the first line? Discuss the role of Rajya Sabha in the democratic functioning of India. Rajya Sabha is the upper house of the parliament. If you don't know anything, Rajya Sabha is the upper house of the parliament. Right? That anybody can write. Now, go beyond this. Make it more qualitative. Sorry? House of elders. That is one better version. Rajya Sabha is the upper house of parliament, which are house of elders. Go beyond that. Only house? Which? Vice president. That is technical. That is technical. That is bookish. I am telling you to be creative with the higher than bookish, beyond the books. Try it. And keep on trying it. Whether you get it or not, but keep on trying it. Sorry? Checks and balance. One aspect. House of intellectuals also. Right? House of intellectuals who may not win through general elections. So keep on thinking about it. Don't stop. If like at the first thought, okay, fine, Rajya Sabha is the upper house of parliament. No, everybody will write. Can I make something better? Even if you have the best from you, still think, can I make it better? That's the real preparation. And that is where you can win. That is what needs practice. That's what needs your real focus. Instead of going through the material, like bring that Bajiram, bring that this, bring that Vision 365, Vision Ye, Vision Wo. Go through NCERT, be fully well versed about it, have the content, go through past year questions, and then look into it whether you really need something more or not. Don't run after the study material, right? Because that's a very small component of your preparation. Believe me, really small component of your preparation. You need to go through it. You need to go through it 5 times, 10 times. But go through 10 times one book rather than going through one time one book and consulting 10 book, because that will compromise your efficiency. So this is one aspect. I would like you to write advantages and disadvantages. You have 10 minutes. I'm taking a break. What are the advantages? Cost efficient. Easy to transport. Safety, questionable. Because there are terrorists. There are thieves. You might not have heard about it. One pipeline in Delhi, there was a connection from below and the people were stealing petrol from there. So that is maintenance. Like whatever you think, try to make it better, present it better. So cost of maintenance is low, less. Okay, go ahead. Come again? Okay, supply to the areas which are may not be even accessible also. Okay, what else? Increase India's stands. In what sense? Okay, fine. Don't be shy about it. If you've spoken something, there must be a reason behind it. If you have not thought over it, think over it. Yes, I'm questioning it because next time you think over it, or a counter question also, so that you come out with a good reasoning, reasonable point. Once established can be used multiple times, like roads also, railways also. Tracks once established can be used for multiple times. Reduce dependency on drivers. That is maintenance cost. One aspect of maintenance cost, if you need to elaborate it, you can bring that as well. Few? Mm-hmm. Can increase foreign exchange or foreign earnings. Diplomacy also. When you, like, let's say, suppose Tapi pipeline. So different countries are using it, and we are passing it through different countries. So we'll have to maintain a good relationship with them. Otherwise, they might not allow it. They might stop it. Now, there are one aspect is when you generate point. There is a thought line for it also. Then, second aspect is prioritization. Which point should come first and so on. The next important aspect is this. Right? The most important point should come first. So, importance of points you generated in order. To put those points, so it will happen only when your thoughts are in order. When you start thinking, you cannot think randomly. If you think randomly, then the points will be random, and there might be maybe the most important point might be in the last or maybe in the middle, and the least important point might be in the first 2-3 points. Because our mind always go for easy task. Easiest. When you press it hard, when you push it, then it goes deeper and all. But the general tendency of the mind is to choose the easiest one, whether it is modes or methods or whatever. Right. So this is also a very important aspect when you write an answer. So if you generate points with taking mind also, like the points should be in order in accordance with your mental setups. So set up your mind to start with the basics, to start with the beginning. Like in this case, it is the beginning or the basics in next case and other cases. What is the beginning? When you just suppose some of us think about laying a pipe down. So first thing will be to think over laying the pipeline. Right? So when you lay the pipeline, what are the advantages and disadvantages? So first think about laying it. Now, if we are thinking about advantages and disadvantages, we are comparing with other modes of transportation. Only then you can come out with clarity of thought or good point when you compare with other modes of transportation. So laying the pipeline, what are the advantages and disadvantages? So your thoughts will be on order, so your points will also be in order. So when we lay down, what are the advantages? Huh? Eco-friendly relatively. So laying down, how laying down is eco-friendly?
It not harms the environment or forest.
No, when you lay down, you'll have to remove the forest.
Sir, but it is like very temporary, permanent.
Okay.
We can afforest again.
That can be true for roadways, railways also. I'm just questioning your thought.
But it is not possible in roadways.
In the middle of the roadways, you see a lot of trees. In the sideways, that's called social forestry.
But only in the middle. But whereas in pipelines we can.
Okay. So that point which you are thinking can be written in a very good point in the best possible manner. So you're thinking one aspect of pipeline when pipeline can be laid down below the land. That's what you're thinking, I think. Huh? So that's the advantage. Pipelines can be laid down below the surface, on the surface, and maybe above the surface. None of the other modes of transportation can be laid down. That's the advantages. Are we getting it? Pipelines can be laid down below the surface, on the surface, and above the surface. Now, when we can lay down below the surface, it saves lot of lands. Right? Especially in a country like ours where lands are going to be very, very tough, very costly, laying down a pipeline saves lot of lands. Then, when we can put it like this, then it can be supplied, or things can be supplied, especially fluids, can be supplied in rough terrain also. You don't need knowledge for these things, whatever I am telling. The only thing is restriction of your mental training. Right? When it can be laid down, let's say suppose in Himalayas, you might not be knowing that in Siachen glaciers where our soldiers are there, the food are supplied through pipeline. Right? Imagine you don't need to go through like zigzags of the roads and all. You just supply it directly. And the distance might be 1/10 of the actual road distance. So you can supply it. From there also, the goods can be supplied and their luggages and all, everything can be thrown just like that. And through pipeline it can come here. So in the harsher terrain and the rough terrain, the pipeline can be very handy for supplying goods and services. Right? So this can be laid down in three different aspects. Under the sea also, you might have heard, a lot of pipelines are there. Right? Then this is laying down. What are the disadvantages? Microplastic and in the aquatic system. How? That's not associated with laying down. That's the functioning. That's the second aspect when we start thinking about supply or actual functioning. So when we think about functioning, then we can compare with other things. Right? I'm talking about the disadvantages in laying down. Fixed path. Right? One is fixed path. What else? The first thing you see, the first thing you should think is the cost of laying down. It will be very costly. So initial cost is very high, is a disadvantage. Initial cost will always be high. Right? But in this itself, there is hidden the advantages also. When the initial costs is high, it will generate employment. Once you start thinking, this will be a natural flow. Right now it might be appearing very tough for you. Again, because you are not accustomed to it. Because you haven't trained your mind for it. But once you start thinking, every question will be in that frame and your thought line will be very much in conformity with this. So employment generation, initial cost is very high. The advantages is that in this one is a disadvantages of pipeline. But this one is advantage of this disadvantage. Right? When initial cost is very high, the further disadvantage is that it cannot be established by private parties in general. Right? It has to be public undertakings. Unlike waterways at least. So this is how you can keep on generating points without actually going through the content, without actually reading the books, or without actually feeling whether you have read it or not. And this ability, if you generate that, if you train your mind to write an answer of unknown question, this helps you for many things as far as preparation is concerned. The first thing is that creativity. This is what you call creativity. Creativity doesn't mean that you should write something extremely creative. No. The only thing is that you should generate point which may not be in many books. 1 or 2 points is more than sufficient. Right? You should not be completely bookish. But that generation, point generation or creativity should be in and around the question associated. Or the real question, the core philosophy of the question. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of pipelines. So your thought line should be around that. Not this side or that side. Not beating around the bush. So you can keep on generating advantages, and in a similar fashion you can keep on generating disadvantages also. Laying down. Then supply. Supply. We can supply only fluids. This is advantages and disadvantages also. Disadvantages that we cannot supply solids through it. Right? Humans can't be supplied through that. Disadvantage. But when we supply that, the efficiency or the speed of transportation will be extremely high. Right? This is advantage. So keep on thinking about it. You don't require informations for many questions. And there will be a lot of questions you may not have read. So these thought process, the way you are training your mind, will help you generate answers right there. Like whatever points I have generated, do you think that all of the points you can easily generate? You could have generated. The only thing is that you haven't trained your mind. I am telling you to train your mind with that. Don't just read the book blindly, because everybody can do that. Right? For you to break that jinx of the barrier, you need to be slightly extraordinary, slightly different. And slightly different is this. Train your mind to answer the question which you have never ever read. Timing. Sometimes, very often, we have the question that how much time you should devote. Right? Very often. कितने घंटे पढ़ूं सर? IAS top कर जाऊं. So how many hours should you study for to get into the top 10, top 20? 6 hours. Who told you that? Four hours कौन थे? Okay, Vidwan. What's your name? Shrimant. M-A-N-T. Okay, T-H, Shrimant. Okay. So 4 hours. Again, who told you that? And how do you know that 4 hours of study will bring you to top? I'm talking about per day. So 4 hours per day. What will you do in 20 hours? Come on, that's too much for your extra curricular activities. Again, image carrier. You might have read somewhere. Have you ever tried yourself that how much actually you should study? Okay, for that again, let's have some experiment. Right? I'll be asking a question, you have to answer very quickly. You don't have time to think. Ready? How much time you will take to reach Visakhapatnam from Hyderabad? Quick. कितने घंटे थे? 8 hours. 8 hours. Exactly. First answer which might have come to your mind is the mode of transportation you are using. That is image. The answer according to the image you carry. 8 hours, 12 hours, whatever hours it was coming is through, because you are traveling through train. So that depends upon what? Mode of the transportation. Right. Now, going by train, going by bike, car, going by plane, right? Going in imagination. There might be many places. Just you close your eye and you are there. Right? And with the present day communication, you can virtually be there. Right? So, modes of transportation is most important thing than the distance. Right? Distance is a physical entity. Distance is a physical entity. Imagine the distance between Hyderabad and Visakhapatnam in ancient time. Would have been a big deal to deal with. Right? Tough task. People might have been planning for years to go to Visakhapatnam. Right? One person who planned to travel from Hyderabad to Visakhapatnam, all of the area and the entire world of near Hyderabad would be knowing that person from that village, from that this thing, is going to Visakhapatnam next year. Right? Today nobody will be talking about it. The same distance in medieval period, the same distance in present day world. Right? Same distance with passenger train, bullet train and so on. So when you think about number of hours, it is the physical doesn't matter. How many hours you are devoting doesn't matter. Right? What is the mode of transportation? That matters. What matters is the mode of transportation. What is the mode of transportation in your studies? The efficiency and productivity. Efficiency and productivity. Right, how efficient and how productive you are. What is the general rule? The general rule for your studies is you read 100 pages. Effectively, you understand less than 10 pages and you can write less than 1 page. This is the normal rule. Normally, when you read 100 pages, after 2 hours, 3 hours, you will be able to remember or hardly 10 pages. And when you are told to write, you will be able to write hardly 1 page about it. Right? Whereas in UPSC, if you change the method of study, that can be reversed. And that is what I want from you guys. And that is what you are supposed to do for UPSC. Read 1 page. Right? Understand 10 page. Understand 10 pages. And make yourself worthy of writing 100 pages. Exactly opposite. Must be thinking extremely tough. Right? Exactly reverse is very much possible. How? Let's come back to from geography itself, geomorphology. Right? What is geomorphology? Scientific study of the landforms. Now, when you think about landform, what are the pictures come to your mind? Mountains, plains, plateaus. Major one, anybody will think, even when you were 10 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, you must be, that's the picture is made. Otherwise, you cannot understand the term itself. Right? So, there is a landform, there is geomorphology, there is a landform. You haven't started it, you haven't read it, but you know that mountains, plains, plateaus. Now, let's take one mountain itself. For zoologist, mountain is a different entity. For geologist, mountain is something different. For botanist, mountain is different. For economist, mountain is different. For geographers, mountain is different. For would-be IS officer, it's a combination of all. Right? What is the society in mountainous region? Look at here, I'm making you worthy of writing 100 pages. Understanding 10. You have just heard the term mountain. And anything I'm going to tell you, most of the thing, 90% you already know. That's what I'm telling, that never ever think that you have started your preparation since last 1 year. You started your preparation of civil services since you were aware itself. When you started learning things about, at the age of maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you started preparing for civil services since then. I'm just helping you to use that. I'm just helping you to recall that. I'm just helping you to believe that you can recall whatever you have learned till now to use in UPSC. Mountain, right? Let's say suppose, what is the density of population in the mountain among these three? The lowest, right? Why is it so? Because of the terrain. Geography influencing population density. Let's say suppose you get a question, discuss the factors affecting density of population in India. So one of the factors will be physiography or geomorphology, right? The people in the mountainous region, people in the plain region, people in the density will be highest in the plain region. Within plain also there will be variation in density, the riverine areas, the moderately water availability areas, desert areas. Right? There will be a different aspect. Now look at here, so many things we can talk about. What is the economy in the mountainous region? What is the economy? Primarily based on, not now. I'm talking about the evolution of human society itself. Forest. What else? Hunting and gathering. Right? What else? The most important source of economy here will be tourism. Right? Atithi Deva Bhava. Must have heard about it. Guests are gods. Now, if you see all the major religious centers, and that too highly devoted, would be created in the mountainous region, across the religion. It's not about one religion. All the religion who are residing in the mountainous region, their religious structures would be there. As if you are closer to the God and they will be listening to you in the best possible way and will be benefiting out of it. Right? So, mountains, tourism. Now, imagine yourself dependent upon the money earned from the tourist. You will always be very forthcoming. You will always be very welcoming. You will have greater warmth in your attitude foundation. Isn't it? If you know that since your childhood, that those people who are visiting your area are the basis of the economic and earnings and livelihoods of the people in that area, all of the society will together form an association, will have the mental setup, will have the attitude foundation, which will be in support of welcoming the people. So they will always be very cordial, extremely nice, sober. On the contrary, plain people are self-dependent. Agriculture is the mainstay. So you have agriculture, you have water, the fundamental requirement is fulfilled. So you are arrogant. Right? You are extremely cunning. You'll always be very with helpful nature. Right? Like if you see the law and order situation will be the best possible in the mountains. Kashmir may have a different reason for that. But in general, the people in the mountainous area will be extremely sober. Right? Because of the economy. The plain area will always be having a different setup of society, different mindsets. They'll always have higher population growth also. Because agriculture, agrarian society will be relatively traditional, conservative, and they'll have higher TFR as compared to the plateau, and the plateau will have higher as compared to the mountains. Right? Why is it so? Because you need more people, right? Higher the number of people, more the income of the family, better the efficiency of the agricultural activities, and more the land you can cover. So power dynamics are based on the number of people you have. Power of the dynamics based on the number of people coming to your area. There is a difference. So you produce more number of children. So automatically, the people in the plain region will have higher TFR, total fertility rate, higher population growth. Look at how geography is influencing your mindset, how geography is influencing your societal features. Now I'm coming to one of the best examples you will have, how the geography is influencing different types of society, and we can have commonality across the world. Right? Rajasthan. What is the geography of Rajasthan? Sorry? Is a desert area. The best known example of similar geography is West Asia. Right? West Asia is also desert area. Rajasthan is also desert area. Let's compare the dressing pattern. What both are? Commonality of geography is deserts. Look at the dressing pattern. Here. All of you have seen it. I'm just training your mind, or helping your mind to train to think that way. And the moment you write this thing, you'll always have 1 mark, 1.5 mark, or maybe 2 marks more than your competitor, because this is not books. This is experience. This is practical experience. Intelligent thought, you can say that. Dressing pattern. What is the traditional dressing pattern of Rajasthan? Any idea about it? Chai. What is the traditional pattern? Multicolors, that's different thing. I'm talking about the pagadi you have seen. And dhoti. They'll always have turban. And dhoti, that means loose dress. What is the dress of women? Ghagra, choli. That is the modified version of sari. They'll always have sari and ghungat. Have you ever seen Arabic men wearing some dress? They'll always have loose dress, one single piece, and they'll always wear something on their head. The pattern of turban might be different. The cloth and the quality and the pattern is similar, but maybe quality might be different, but dhoti and that ababa is the same thing. Why is it so? Desert climate have a lot of dusts and all, right? Imagine the moment you go out in desert area, there will be a lot of dust coming into your hair and all. Now when you come back, you have to wash it, you don't have water. So you cover your, right? You wear loose dress so that you can fight temperature, higher temperature, right? So both of them loose dress. Women, because you go out in sunny day, so extreme suns will be there, your face might burn down, your beauty might be affected, so you cover your face. We call here sari, they call their burqa. Are you getting it? That very often the Muslims get confused with burqa as Islamic aspect. That is cultural aspect. That is culture of Arab, not religion. And it generally happens. Culture and religion you always mixed with. That is Arab culture. That's not religion. So that culturally, you look at the similarity of culture between Rajasthan and West Asia. Why is it so? Because geography. So geography influences your dressing pattern. And that's one of the best example you can have. Geography influences your dietary habit. Again, one of the best example is the liquid intake in South India. Rasam, sambar. Why is it so? to beat the humidity, to beat the sweat oozing out of your body. You have to have more intake. You look at the northern plain, there will be lassi will be the main drink there. Thick one. Here, rasam and sambar, liquid will be more. Like if you go to Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh area where you have heat, you have poisoning things there, so they will eat a lot of anti-poisoning things. They will have madira that is made from the rotten rice, and that beats out any insects and all, they cut out. So look at the dietary pattern. I'm telling you, forget about that, look at the dance pattern. The topic is what? Landforms. Right? Maybe you can include climatology also. Geography, two major core area philosophy of geography. If you understand geomorphology and climatology, you can understand and write 90% of geography. Very often geography, like optional students may generally have that, people have complaints about that the syllabus is very large, vast. Right? It is because you don't know how to study it, how to correlate it. One landform, rainfall, forest, agriculture. Plain area, agriculture. High rainfall area, different types of agriculture. Temperature, different types of agriculture. Availability of water, different types of density of population. So one single topic can tell you about 10 other topics. If you have learned how to correlate it, how to integrate it, you can reduce the number of hours. This is mode of transportation. I'm just helping you what is the mode of transportation. So, dance pattern. You must have seen all the dances, major dances. Look at the European dances. Have you seen that? There will be close body dance, hip dance, belly dance, right? Eye dance. They will have very close movement of the body. Look at South Indian dance. Even the girls will have one hand here, other hand here, legs will be there, wide spread body. The tropical region will always have very wide jumping dance. Whereas the temperate region where the temperature is low will always have very close body dance. Now recall, if you have experienced that winter and summer, your sleeping style during winter and your sleeping style during summer. So temperature influences dance pattern also. So look at how culture is being influenced by, look at here, the culture, the entire culture, the attitude setups. Right? The societal makeups. All have something, not entire, but something to do with geography. Right? The entire thing. The moment you write about something, you're going to start with that. Let's say temperature. Temperature, one single but most dominant factor of climate. Right? The temperature determines dressing pattern. Yesterday I was coming, since morning I was wearing full sweater and all. Right? Double sweater. And today I am here, yesterday itself when I was landing, I have to remove all the clothes. So dressing pattern was affected by temperature. The amount of water you consume in general will be affected by temperature. The type of crops you grow will be affected by temperature. The temperature plus rainfall will affect so many things. If you have learnt distribution of rainfall across the world, right, that's one topic. You already have learnt forest distribution, largely, right? I'm not saying that you don't need to read forest distribution, but you largely know that this area will have high density of forest, right? If you have learnt about rainfall with geomorphology, you know that water resource will be there. I'm talking about the resources, right? If you have learnt about these two things, you know that the types of crops grown in an area. Right? if you know this rainfall together with landform, you know that what kind of irrigation facilities you may have. So many things you see. You're already learning it. With a little bit of information about your learning rainfall, let's say suppose groundwater resource. Where do you expect groundwater resource to be very high with respect to our country? Fortunately, we are born in a country, we have variety of geography. And that's why we have variety of culture. That's why we have nation within the nation. Right? So, if you think about groundwater resource, where do you expect groundwater? Where rainfall is? Go ahead. Near sea water bodies. So, peninsular plateau, where rainfall is higher, Rajasthan, where rainfall is lower, do you expect peninsular plateau to have higher groundwater as compared to Rajasthan? Two region, peninsular plateau, one is Rajasthan, which is a dry area, one of the driest area in our country. So you have rainfall much higher, you have rainfall much lesser, groundwater condition here will be better. Now I'm telling you, I'm not asking you. Why? Because of the porosity. Whatever is falling, it will go down. Whatever is falling, it will flow. Because of harder surface. Right? So seepage will be less. So it may have surface water better, but groundwater poor. It may have poor surface water, but better groundwater. A single Indira Gandhi canal, which is lying in the western side of Rajasthan, would have supplied groundwater to almost entire Rajasthan. Rain falling in Punjab might seep down and may reach up till Jaisalmer because of porosity, high porosity. So groundwater condition will be better where rainfall is higher plus the rocks are softer. I hope I'm reaching. Your antenna is catching me up. Wherever you need to discuss, feel free. The moment you think about, now look at here, when the groundwater condition, can we learn it? Groundwater is better where rocks are softer and rainfall is higher. Two aspects. Wherever you have groundwater, the types of irrigation will be primarily based on tube wells, wells and tube wells. Look at the interrelationship. Right? Wherever you have plain area, where you have water availability, the dominant economic activity will be agriculture. Any doubt? All the plain areas of the world, which you call landforms as plain, plateaus and mountains. So all the plain areas of the world will drive economic activities primarily from agriculture, which is primary sector. Primary sector. Do we understand primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector? Right. So primary sector, agriculture, mining like fuel and all. So this will be different area, but plain area, dominant activity will be agriculture, which means primary sector. Any area which is receiving, or any population or society where main source of income is agriculture, they will have a society which will be traditional, introvert, conservative, and that makes more fanatic. Less liberal. Now this is reasoning. You are putting reasoning as a would-be IAS officer, as a well-educated person. You are trying to learn the reasons the way people behave. You can't just be rhetoric that look at Haryana, there is Khap Panchayat, there is a parallel judicial system, right, where the judicial system in the village itself, where the Mukhya and the leader can decide about who can be killed or who cannot be killed, on the basis of that someone is maybe going against the tradition of the family or the area, right. Now, what do you mean by fanatic and less liberal? There will be issue of women, highly underdeveloped. The condition of women will be pathetic, very poor, right? Very, very pathetic. And all across the world will be, situation will be similar, where the geography is similar, right? So now as a student, as an administrator, as a future lawmaker, or as a future policy makers, you should understand the reason. You should not attack Khap Panchayat, rather you should attack the traditions of that area, right? Now, the society will evolve as feudal setup, right? Now look at here, this is what is the fact. Now we are going into why. Why is it so? Why the people of plain area will behave the way they are behaving? What is geography into it? What geography has to play its role? Now look at here, why they will be conservative. First aspect. Right? Why they would be behaving the way they are behaving. Imagine you as a farmer, right? And you have wheat cultivated in your field. It's about to be harvested, right? And just 10-15 days before, you see a thunderstorm coming, right? The moment if it has mixed fall, or there is the ice balls falling on the wheat, it will destroy your crop, right? You are so happy just before that you are going to have a good harvest this year, and you may have planned for it, how to spend those money into different field. Suddenly you see a thunderstorm. Who will you look up to? Government. Come on. You are not a good farmer. God. Because nobody can stop thunderstorm. So you will look up to God. Like there is thunderstorm, here is your field. Right? Now you are worried that the moment it reaches, it will destroy your crop. So you will look up to God to stop that thunderstorm. But you don't have direct connection with God. Right? Who has direct connection with the God? Priestly class. Religious leaders, mullahs and pandits and girjas and gurudwaras. So you will go to the mullahs, right? And tell that, please, I don't have direct connection, you have direct connection, please pray on my behalf, to tell the God to stop, I have a lot of plan for it, please, please, please. So that mullah or pandit will have connection and they will have antenna joined with God. Right, through that antenna they will connect to the God. Now you see there are two possibilities. I am telling you practical thing. Right, I am not criticizing anything. There are good use of religion also. I am talking about how the society behaves the way they are behaving. So now this person, any individual belonging to any religion, they will have commonality. Their behavior will be exactly similar. We are giving too much importance to religion. But human behavior is not dependent upon religion. Religion dictates in a similar fashion across the religion. Now, whichever religion he belongs to, there will not be she. That's why I'm using the word he. Right? Whichever religion he belongs to, he will have connection to gods, God or gods, whatever. So, and there will be two possibilities, that this came and just passed over. So it is a win-win situation for both God, the middleman, and the farmers. Perfect situation. Now, this guy will be happy. So now you have connected. He has connections. So he prayed for it. So he will charge for it. So you have to pay something. You can't pay. So some part of agriculture produce, you'll have to pay this guy. He will be respected. Jita Mullah ji, Assalamu alaikum, Namaskar. He will be respected in the society. He'll get good amount of economy and respect. These two things which every human love to have. Right? Now, first situation is win-win for everyone. Second situation, this he prayed, he requested, he prayed, he heard, he didn't hear, came, thunderstorm, destroyed the crop. Mamla phas gaya. Right? This will not be a good situation. So now this guy cannot blame this one. Right? This guy cannot blame this farmer also because he is the pay. So this guy will try to find the vulnerable spot, the weak spot of this farmer or the farmer's family who can be blamed for this thing. That God, I have tried. God has heard. But I heard the God saying something different. Your daughter was not wearing dupatta last year. And that's why God has brought wrath on you. Now look at this let's say suppose this is a Muslim guy who is telling a Muslim farmer, there might be a Hindu farmer whose field is also destroyed. So his Bhagwan is also the same thing. So his Bhagwan will also say the same thing. The church and will say the same thing, that your daughter was there. Your wife is not obeying the rules of the God. So all across they will find someone to blame, and that's how first aspect that the weaker section will be made to suffer because of the stupidity of the middleman. Right? Where God didn't heard him, and because of that he has to pass blame on someone else. And that is where you become more conservative. No, I will never want you to see that dupatta or virqa and all, and this guy will go to the mosques or temples or wherever. The frequency of going there will be more. Next year, please, thunderstorms, bacha lena. So that's how the society will become much more conservative, much more regressive. And the misuse of this individual will be highest here. They will start ruling and they will rule. And whenever the priestly class rule the society, they'll always be conservative. Any society you'll read in the history, whether it is dark ages of Christians, whether it is downfall of the Muslim rules, all started with that. Whenever the conservativeness of the religious or the priestly class started being imposed upon the society, they started having downfall. And you guys, welcome to the club. शाम तक समझ में आ जाएगा. Right? So this is how the society will become conservative. Primary sector, God sent things. Agriculture, petrol, crude oil, gas, all are or minerals. If you have gold, who has given you gold? Who has given you gold? I'm talking about gold mines. Come on. She will run away. नेचर ने दिया, गॉड ने दिया, अल्लाह ने दिया. अल्लाह किसको देता है? मर्दों को देता है. राइट? अल्लाह औरतों को नहीं देता है. So there will be deep-rooted patriarchy. Deep-rooted patriarchy. Patriarchy is a common rule all across the world. Don't have any confusion about it. But it will be extremely deep-rooted patriarchy where the role of women in decision-making process will be minimized. Role of women in decision-making process. Minimized in the society receiving major income from primary sources. Right? There will be conservative, there will be inward looking. Look at the women condition in West Asia because of petrol. Look at the women condition in our green revolution states because of successful agriculture. Right? So there, primarily because economic role of women is lower or lowest. In a society which drive their primary, which is having higher share of income from the primary sources, the women will be having inferior. They will suffer. There will be misogynistic attitude. The society will have, this will have impact on the sex ratio. Right? You have negative sex ratio all across the country almost, but you have positive sex ratio where the women are, where the people are deriving their income from. Like why? What is the difference between South India and North India? You understand the social aspect. There are a lot of difference between South India and North India, and the primary reason is the geography behind that. Because the major source of income in North India is the agriculture. South India being plateau area do not have that source of income. Now look at that, the richest mineral zone of our country. Which is the richest mineral zone of our country? The Chota Nagpur Plateau. Consisting of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha. All three states are the poorest of the country. At least one of the poorest of the country. Now look at the question. Why resource rich region of Africa is highly underdeveloped? Why Chota Nagpur Plateau is highly underdeveloped? That question is not asking you to read about Africa. That question is basically asking you, have you known your own country properly? If you have reasoned it out, that the moment you read mineral distribution in our country, just like normal reading, not very deep reading, this name will come to the first line. Chota Nagpur Plateau, almost all mineral you imagine, that will be there in Chota Nagpur Plateau. And you know that Chota Nagpur Plateau is containing the poorest state. Put a question mark. Why? This guy had a lot of resources. Why these states are having such a poor condition? So that means there is something interrelationship, reverse relationship of resource versus development. So not necessarily having resource makes you more developed. Put a question mark, you are preparing for civil services. Right? Having learnt that Chota Nagpur is the richest mineral zone of our country is one thing. Putting a question mark that why having the richest one is the poorest one. Second thought. Why this area is extremely disturbed? This area is one of the most disturbed area of our country. Right? 98% of terrorist related death in India happens because of that what you call red corridor. Because of that what you call the Maoism. 98% terrorist related death in India happens because of that Naxalism. In our case it is called Naxalism. Now, you know this data. Put a question mark, try to find out the answer. Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh. Punjab, Haryana, Western UP. These three are the poorest, having the poorest sex ratio in our country. This is the data. When you read about the data of sex ratio, you will learn that these three areas, at least Punjab Haryana as a state, has the poorest sex ratio. When you read in economy, you read that they were the driving engine or growth engine for our country in 70s, 80s and 90s. And even today, they are among the top most rich state of our country. So those rich states have poor sex ratio. Put a question mark. Why? You are preparing for civil services. Right? Every question is giving you some answer. Like for example, right now I'm taking this part. Extremely disturbed. Why is it so? The moment you answer that, you are learning what you call geopolitics. Imagine some guy of you are like watching a girl on the road with 10 kg of gold on her body. Let's say increase it 20 kg. If it is incentive enough for you. Will you see the girl or the gold? Thank you for being honest. There is one girl with 20 kg gold and there are 5 guys who wants to have that gold. 5 different guys. Imagine all the aspects you will do to have that gold. You consider yourself as the topmost country with a lot of guns and arms and missile, extremely powerful. And you consider that girl as resource rich region of the world. You are learning geopolitics. That is exactly what geopolitics is all about. You will try, suppose that girl has 5 brothers. So you'll always want that those 5 brothers should not unite, because united 5 brothers can easily protect that girl. So all of you 5 or 10 will always want that 5 brothers to be divided. Right? So one, let's suppose you will find the weakest one who drinks. So you'll bring a scotch whiskey and all for him, and everybody will try to side one, then another will try to side one, another will try to side one. So this way that country will be divided. Any country which is extremely rich in mineral, they are always having civil wars. Look at Africa. Right? So that area, because of geopolitical conditions, will be disturbed, and that is in favor of the chauvinist section of this least percentage of the society who are wanting to use those minerals. They would never want that area to remain peaceful. And that area to remain peaceful will be a danger to those who want to exploit that resources. So that area will be disturbed always deliberately to serve the purpose of the few on the top. And they'll make the decision. And that girl will be torn into pieces. Some will take 2 kgs, some will take 10 kgs, some will take 1 kg and all. So that girl can be treated as a rich area. That 5 brothers, the citizens of that country, and you 5 guys who want to have gold are the top countries of the world. It's as simple as that. Look at Taliban, Afghanistan, right? The lithium, which was known to the world since last 20-30 years. Afghanistan was one of the most liberal country till 1970s. One of the most liberal country. The most peaceful country where the Sarais that was used to be called as Silk Route. And Kabul was the most peaceful station among the entire Silk Route. And that country took only 20 to 30 years to transform into a full-fledged Taliban. Look at Talibani guys. They don't have proper clothes to wear. They don't have proper food to eat. But they have 10 lakhs AK-47 on their shoulder. And they have thousands of bullets worth 1,000 times more than their food or the clothes. They are having it. Who are providing them? It requires a lot of money. And that money can be possessed by only by rich. If those people who are rich enough to supply AK-47 to that poor man would want 10 times more than more than the AK-47, without any doubt, from where they'll get it? So whether it is oil, whether it is gas, every disturbed area of the world, anywhere you imagine, it has nothing to do with anything except that resource. That area you read will be rich in something very important, not available everywhere in the world. Even the most recent example is when Taliban banned the opium cultivation in Afghanistan. You might have read about it. Might not have read about it. Go through the current affairs properly. The entire Western world started questioning that. Right? How could you do that? Because Taliban was supplying, Afghanistan is supplying almost 80% of opium to the world, which is used in medicines also. As a drug also, but medicines also. Now, if that supply is stopped, then the entire world will suffer. So the world, the dominant section of the world started questioning and started putting pressure to Taliban to continue with the opium cultivation. Whereas Taliban is saying that their 25% population are drug addict because of opium cultivation. Look at the irony. Right? They will be pressured. They will be pressurized to cultivate that opium. Whether your citizen suffers or not, we don't care. You keep on continuing because we need that supply. So everywhere in the world, wherever you have disturbances, including our country, there will be sufferings. Like look at India. We are in a situation where we should reap the what you call demographic dividend. You might have heard about it. We are in the best possible window where demographic dividend. In down the lane, 20 years down the lane, China is going to emerge as the most powerful nation of the world, without any doubt. Any country who can encounter China, any country who can come in front of China, any country in any way who can pose challenge to China is us. China would love to have us disturbed in every possible way so that we cannot reach at their level, at China's level. So they will invest a lot of money into India or anti-India activities which can make India disturbed, less peaceful, so that we cannot grow at the desired pace. Right? But how many people, how many percentage of people actually know it? Not even the educated like you, who are the top 5% brain of our country. We don't know it. What is the chemistry behind it? What is the reason behind it? We just jump into whatever has been floated, whatever has been presented, even the educated section. So that's where I'm telling you to put reasoning into it. Put reasoning in everything before you make an answer. This is about answering the question. This will be a flawless answer. To have flawless conclusion or answer, that needs a lot of practice. You need to train your mind. We'll continue from here, geography versus society, tomorrow. And we'll start our discussions with earth, or a partial discussion or just flowing discussion on astronomy. We'll start from here. Then we might go into climatology. Now you might be asking about books you should read. NCERT 6th to 12th. If you ask me again, I'll say NCERT 6 to 12. If you ask me again, I'll say NCERT 6 to 12. So don't ask me any question. Like for example, vision का material पढ़ूं कि नहीं पढ़ूं. Right? So 6 to 12. NCERT 6 to 12 plus class notes. Brush it up 25 times. Right? Together, if you have prepared, you are done with 95% of the questions asked in UPSC. And I can bet on one fact that if you cannot do questions in prelims or mains, nobody in India, as far as your competitor is concerned, can solve that question. That question is out of syllabus then. Right? So this way, you repeat that rather than going through multiple sources of material. Once you have finished it, so long at least we are going to for the classes, you should not touch anything. That's my advice. Your choice, you can go anywhere. Don't touch anything except this part. If you can do justice with this part, that's more than enough. Now, how to go with? How to go with NCERT? How to read, I have already told you. How to go to it? Not class-wise. Don't study NCERT class-wise. Study topic-wise. Like pick up a topic and finish it from 6th to 12th. Could you get that? Like let's say for example, we are going to start our discussion with climatology. Right, supposed to be the toughest area and the most useful area of geography. Because every other area will require this information. Right, so climatology, so all topics from 6th to 12th which belongs to climatology should be read in that phase. So you are starting as a basic fundamental foundation of climatology. What is temperature, what is heat, you are starting from there and reaching up to the maximum till 12th. Right? And whenever we start, we are going to, I am going to take you much higher than that. Right? So this way, if you are dealing with, your foundation will be extremely strong, or as strong as you actually need it. When you jump into different types of material, you are reading same topic from different books. So you will have problem of language. That will hamper your understanding. And that will definitely reduce your, what we call conceptual clarity. Because this is a topic where you don't need to cram up. Generally, geography, the moment you start reading geography as a social science, you will lose a lot of things. Right? So science like formula wise, that's geography. For example, I was telling about you, the rainfall, forest, agriculture and so on. Society also. So this is formula. There is a formula. That's why geography is considered as a bridge between real science and social science. Right? So this way, if you go through that, we'll have 3 stages. In fact, 4 layers of discussion. Nobody can stop you if you read through these 4 layers from getting through civil services. I'm talking about any subject you are going through. 4 layers. First layer. Try to read. I'm not talking about study. There is a difference. Try to read, at least simply go through. Read the topic for tomorrow. Like in the class, whatever we are going to discuss in the class, try to read that topic. Second layer. Class discussion. Reversible. Both ways. I'm teaching you something, you teach me something. Not like a school going student, one way flow of ideas. You will be able, it will be reversible only when you have done this part. At least even 10% of you have done that part. Believe me, you will find class very productive. Because when you ask question, it will be extremely relevant. Right? When you ask question, it will be genuine. Like very often geography makes people more curious. Like once it happened in Delhi, Hindi medium. The guys who come there always very innocent, extremely curious and all. So when I started teaching about the rotation of Earth, so one guy started asking me, "Sir, पृथ्वी किस प्रकार से घूमती है वो तो समझ गए, लेकिन घूमती क्यों है? Right? I tried to explain. So I tried like this is how the entire solar system or the star system is produced and that's why. So वो solar system क्यों produce होता है? Are you getting it? So when you start doing research work, you are studying the topic, subject, not UPSC. Because UPSC is not going to ask you. So I asked him one question. Go to after the class at home, think about तुम इंसान ही क्यों हो, कुत्ता क्यों नहीं पैदा हुए? अगर जवाब मिल जाए तो मुझे बताना. Always remember we are studying geography for civil services, not for any other thing, right? So this, when you ask question, the only thing maintain that it should be relevant. It should be from the topic. It should be from this, and I'll be making sure that if you have read it, you will be answered. And I will be surely knowing whether you have read it or not. Be sure about it. Right? That's the second layer. Third layer is any subject you should read in this fashion. Third layer is the revision at home. The most important part. Revision at home. Right? And the fourth layer is the final touch. Rediscussion in the class. This four layer, like for example, next day when we come, the first question I will always ask is any question from previous class. You will be able to do justice with when you have done this part. So everything is interconnected. One to this, second and third. And once you have done it, you can yourself, you are mature enough at least to understand, look at the amount of efficiency you will bring into that topic. Right? So till geography is going on, this should be your first task. You have finished polity, you might be tempted to go for revision. Revise it only when you have finished this task. Right? Don't do any other thing, including current affairs, I'm telling you. Very often students get engaged, a lot of engagement with current affairs. Don't do that. This is also a big myth that you should read newspapers regularly, at least 3 hours, 4 hours, 2 hours kind of. Right? That might be confusing because somebody might have told you in the class itself that you need newspaper. Who need to read newspaper? Right? Let me give you a few examples. You haven't done basics of economy. You are reading newspaper and there is an article that RBI has reduced the interest rate. Unless until you understand the power of RBI in interest rate and what is the function of interest rate in the flow of money in the market, you will not be able to appreciate that article. Similarly, like any parliament has passed any law and you haven't finished the polity, you will not be able to appreciate it. And you will be disturbed basically. Sometimes you lose your confidence also, you are not worthy of qualifying civil services. Don't let anything feel you that you are inferior or you are not worthy of it. Because everybody would feel the same way. Because this is an ocean kind of thing. I told you that howsoever well read you are, you will be able to do 30 questions. So it is the 70 question which is decider. So that requires a lot of confidence within yourself also. Right? So that ways when you go into those aspects, try to go through this 4 layer. And this 4 layer will help you make far more efficient of any topic you have started and you have done. That's all for the day. Thank you and take care.